Hello and welcome to the class of World History. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic of world history known as nation state. Now, nation state as we know today is something which is very new as a concept, because if you see in the long history of human civilization, nation state building apparently developed only 200 years back, and there were certain reasons why it developed. So, let me first of all write the heading nation state. So, what is nation state? First of all, the importance of nation comes from the very fact that nation means the sum total of people, the population living in a territory, while state is actually a geographical entity when we talk about nation, we are talking about people. As such, what is nationalism? Nationalism is the feeling where you want to work for the people of a state, that is nationalism. But in 18th century, there were many reasons or many causes why the feeling of nationalism was developing, and finally we see the growth of nation state. Before 18th century, the whole Europe was divided into scattered state ruled by monarchs. Then these monarchs further gave their power to the feudal lords. So, the center of power was actually not in the hand of one person, but it was divided among many small entities. So, the whole state was fragmented and there was hardly any feeling of unity. If you look the whole state before 18th century, culturally, socially, politically, you find a large number of scattered states who do not have any feeling of fraternity. So, nation started developing as an entity during the end of 18th century and the beginning of 19th century. In our previous classes, we have already talked about Renaissance, Reformation, Enlightenment as movement which made people to think about their state of affair, their political state of affair, social state of affair, cultural state of affair. And many thinkers and philosophers at that time believed that the power should be in the hand of people instead of being in a hand of an entity or a monarch which was not working for the welfare of the people. Now, in such a circumstance, we see the growth of two major revolutions. American Revolution, which worked for republicanism and democracy, it ended the colonialization of Britain over the states of America. And then we saw French Revolution, which was a revolution against monarchy, against a rule which did not work for the welfare of the people. These two revolutions inspired the mind of the people and became the foundation on which nation state was established. So, what is nation state? It is nation, as I told you, is sum total of people on whom the sovereignty is entrusted, which means nation state is a country where people are sovereign. The power to rule is actually in the hand of people, and they finally elect a government and they willingly give certain part of their power to the government so that the country could be administered. Now, let us talk about the causes why nation state building process became it became really fast, and we saw the growth of nation state. By 18th century, Britain had already established itself as a nation state with pro-democratic government. Then we saw the growth of French Revolution, and it was France that became a nation state. With that, there were many other states who also went on the road of formation of nation state. First was obviously revolution. First cause for the formation of nation state were the revolutions. The American Revolution, the French Revolution, that ignited the mind of people, and they realized that the power to govern themselves should be in their hand. Whatever administrative decision is taken, it should be taken with the will of the people. So, this revolution became the first reason why nation state building took place. Second, Napoleonic War. Now, Napoleon, when he came into power, in the name of nationalism, to safeguard his country, first of all he fought with the coalitions, and later, after becoming emperor, he invaded the European countries. Now, as Napoleon had brought the people of France together in the goal of not only protecting its border but expanding it, the countries which were getting invaded by Napoleon also saw a phase when people of those countries came together to fight against Napoleon and safeguard their own land. Now, this resulted in the growth of nationalism among them. They started feeling the brotherhood among the people of those countries, and this became a result why nationalism grew in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, in Greece for that matter. During this time, Greece had marked its independence from Ottoman Empire. Now, not only Napoleonic War, another important reason why nationalism grew was because of Industrial Revolution. With the growth of Industrial Revolution, European businessmen were actually searching for market to sell their product. Now, search of market was not a small task. It needed the help of the government, it needed the help of the civilian population who would come and join the venture, go for a voyage and search for colonies. This industrialization not only brought people together in the growth of the country in economic development, but it also led to a fierce competition between countries. But this competition was actually the reason why nationalism developed between the countries. With the economic growth, each European country jumped into the competition for getting more and more colonies for themselves, and imperialism developed. This imperialistic behavior of the countries also resulted in nationalism. The fourth important reason was the war and absolute monarchy. The monarchs now were aggressively fighting with each other. The monarchies of each country were fighting with each other to conquer more and more land in Africa, in Asia, and to colonize them. For this, they needed resources, they needed people to support them. And how did they do it? They glorified nationalism, and by glorifying nationalism, they went to the people with the idea that for glorifying their nation, they should support absolute monarchs who were fighting battle for the glory of the nation, and this also resulted in the growth of nationalism during this time. So, if you look into the history, these four reasons were the very important reason why nationalism developed, but one more reason that I would suggest you should write is the revolutionary thinkers. The poets of 19th century like P.B. Shelley and Mazzini, they were writing about nationalism. They were writing about country which will be united in its goal, where people will fight together for the protection of their borders and work together for economic growth. These revolutionary thinkers, writers and poets not only ushered the era of romanticism in literature, but they also glorified freedom fighters, martyrs, army and war, which resulted in the growth of nationalism among the countries. So, this is all about the nation state building, and with that, by the time we come to 19th century, we not only see the growth of two important countries, Germany and Italy, where the fragmented, as I told you earlier, under monarchy, the state was fragmented into feudal system. These fragmented states will come together and they will form two mighty countries like Italy and Germany, and that will lead to the climax of nation state building. Not only that, many states in Europe will ask for freedom and they will become free from their mother countries, like Poland will ask for its freedom, then Greece will become free from Ottoman Empire, and many new nations will come up. This will set the stage for First World War, which we are going to talk in future. But I hope this class was helpful, and we will see you in another class with one more topic of world history.